Israel is defending itself on 7 fronts against the enemies of civilization. הבוקר חמאס פתח במתקפת פתע רצחנית נגד מדינת ישראל ונגד אזרחיה.
Today marks the first anniversary of the October 7 attack on Israel, a date that ignited a profound conflict across the region. In the wake of this tragedy, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asserts that Israel is fighting a war of self-defense not only on 1, 2, or 3, but on 7 fronts.
We're fighting in Gaza against Hamas, those savages who murdered, raped, beheaded, and burned our people on October 7th. We're fighting in Lebanon against Hezbollah, the most heavily armed terror organization in the world, which was planning an even greater massacre than October 7th on our northern border, and that has rocketed Israeli towns and cities for nearly a year. We're fighting against the Houthis in Yemen and the Shiite militias in Iraq and Syria that together have launched hundreds of drones and missile attacks against Israel. We're fighting against terrorists in Judea and Samaria who are trying to murder civilians in the heart of our cities. And we're fighting against Iran, which last week fired over 200 ballistic missiles directly at Israel, and which stands behind the 7-front war against Israel.
In a recent message, Netanyahu condemned calls from French President Emmanuel Macron and other Western leaders for an arms embargo against Israel, declaring it a disgrace. He emphasized that Israel is facing an alliance of foes: Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, Shiite militias in Iraq and Syria, Palestinian groups in the West Bank, and Iran itself. Let's break this down. Each enemy represents a unique challenge for Israel. First, Hamas. This group has governed Gaza since 2007 and is notorious for launching rocket attacks on Israeli cities. The October 7 attack in 2023 were among the deadliest, with approximately 1,200 Israelis killed. Hamas's stated goal is the destruction of Israel, making it a center figure in the ongoing conflict. Second, Hezbollah, based in Lebanon. Established in the 1980s, this Iran-backed group has engaged in multiple conflicts with Israel, most notably the 2006 Lebanon War. Hezbollah possesses a vast arsenal of rockets aimed at Israel and is known for its cross-border attacks and incursions. Third, the Houthis in Yemen. Although primarily focused on the civil war in Yemen, they have attempted drone and missile strikes against Israel, aiming to extend their influence across the region and demonstrate solidarity with other anti-Israel factions. They have halted many Western and Israeli operations in the Red Sea, further escalating violence. Fourth, Shiite militias operating in Iraq and Syria. These groups, heavily funded and armed by Iran, have launched attacks on US forces and indirectly threaten Israel through their proximity. They are involved in regional conflicts and contribute to instability. Fifth, various Palestinian groups in the West Bank. These factions, including factions like Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Al-Quds, Al-Qassam, have engaged in violent protests, stabbings, and shooting attacks against Israeli civilians and also military personnel, further escalating tensions in the Middle East. Sixth, Iran. As the primary backer of these groups, Iran provides military support, training, and funding. Iranian leaders have openly called for the destruction of Israel and coordinate attacks through their proxy networks in the region, not to forget last week's biggest ballistic missile attack on Israel. Finally, other Islamist extremist groups that rally around the same ideology. These groups share a commitment to opposing Israel and have conducted various attacks or incited violence against Israelis, contributing to a climate of perpetual threat. Netanyahu's message underscores a grim reality. The forces aligned against Israel are united, while he calls for solidarity among civilized nations to support Israel's fight against what he describes as barbarism led by Iran. However, the impact of this war extends beyond military victories. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza and Israel, with reports of nearly 41,900 Palestinian casualties, raises urgent questions about the future of both people. The cycle of violence perpetuates suffering on all sides. As we mark this anniversary, it's clear that conflict is not just a battle of arms, but a profound struggle over ideology, identity, and the very existence of a person. In a landscape marked by 7 enemies, the hope for peace feels more distant than ever.
Don't miss out. Log on to oneindia.com for more updates.